Welcome back. At this point in the game, everything looks like it's going splendidly, right? Things are falling out of the spawner. Looks great. But if you look at this hierarchy over here, this list of ammo and asteroids keeps getting longer and longer and longer. And if you zoom out from the scene view, look at this. Oh goodness. We have a problem because your computer, or if you're running this on a phone, is trying to track the XY position of all of these objects every frame of the game. And that takes a lot of processing power and memory. And eventually your game's going to start to lag, and that's not fun. So we need to clean up a little bit. So I'm going to pause that. And by the way, a little trick here, if you're zoomed way out and you want to get right back zoomed in, if you click on an object you want to zoom into and then mouse over in scene view and hit the F key, it will zoom into that spot. So little navigation trick. Now I'm going to put a object down here that's going to be our cleanup crew, and I'm going to actually insert a sprite. So I'm under sprites playground project, geometric shapes, right there. And I'm going to throw in a square, and I'm going to change the X scale of that to be 26, so it's nice and wide enough to catch all of those things and destroy them. And the player will never see this because it's out of their view, but the computer will silently thank us by not lagging. And we're going to add a script to this, but first let's rename it. I'm going to call this cleaner bottom. And in the scripts folder, inside scripts space chicken, there's the SC cleaner. I'm going to drag that onto there. Now, nothing will collide with this and detect that it's colliding with it unless you have a collider on there. If we just play it right now, even with that script on there, you'll notice it's not real efficient. It's just letting things go right by it. So I'm going to add component. I'm on the cleaner bottom here selected, and I'm going to hit add component. And if you haven't searched for anything, you want to type in start spelling collider, and it pops up with all the colliders. Now this is a box shape, so I'm going to use box collider 2D, 2 dimensions. Don't use the regular box collider because it won't work. And if I just leave it as is, things are actually going to bounce off of this cleaner bottom, and we don't want that. We want it to be a trigger. Making it a trigger is like when you walk into the grocery store and the door opens in front of you, but you didn't step on a switch, you didn't hit a button or anything, it just opened for you. How did it know? Well, you walked into a trigger area, right? It saw that you intersected with a special area, and then it activated something. And so that's what making something into a trigger is, because instead of bouncing off of things, it makes it more of a zone that can then activate something else. So we make that a trigger. Now let's see if it works. Things are falling, still doesn't work. Well, the reason for that, you might have guessed, are the things that are hitting it, do they have a collider? No, they don't. So we need to go to our prefabs folder, and remember we made our SC ammo and the SC asteroid in there. Do they have any kind of collider on here? I like to collapse these, it's easier to keep track of what's on there. They do not have colliders, so we need to add one. Now this is the ammo, and that's kind of a circle shape, so circle collider 2D sounds efficient. And I'm going to make that a trigger so it doesn't bounce off of things. And same for the asteroid, it does not have a collider, so I'm going to add a... you don't want to use a mesh collider because those are really inefficient processor-wise. So this one, maybe a polygon collider 2D would be good. And make that a trigger. Now let's try this again. So we have our collider as a trigger down here, and collider's trigger on everything else, and there it goes, it works. Now, as far as the player's concerned in this video, they don't care, they didn't realize anything changed, except they can play the game without lag happening because this list doesn't ever get very long. Very efficient, your computer thanks you. And so do I. Keep rolling. We're going to keep adding some features to this game.